So she's a challenge, I have to say. She keeps me on my toes, literally.
Get radio breakfast with Rich Smith.
Another wonderful performance coming to the New Theatre in Oxford in a few weeks' time. It almost needs no introduction, but we are going to give it one. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is going to be down there from the 21st to the 26th of April. Really pleased to be joined on the show by Jayme-Lee Zanoncelli. Now, I've definitely messed that surname up, Jayme-Lee. I do apologise. It was my very best effort Italian. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Look, I sort of alluded to the fact that this show needs no introduction because it is ultimately hugely iconic. It's massive. It's been watched by 35 million theatre goers from the late 70s right the way through till today. How does it feel to be a part of it?
Do you know, it's so surreal. I still have moments when I'm on stage and I'm just looking out at everyone dressed up, singing along to all the songs, like saying the lines, doing all the shout outs. I'm thinking, I'm on stage working on something that Richard O'Brien has written. It's wild. It's actually wild. And I'm halfway through, 6 months into my contract, so quite new to the Rocky family. But yeah, still a lot of pinch me moments, I have to say.
I guess that's the case with something as big and as great and as impressive as this. But does that add a bit of a different pressure? Because the audience you're performing in front of, the majority of them go, oh, yeah, I know this. I know the songs. This might be my first time seeing it, maybe. A lot of people would have probably come maybe 2-3 times, seen it over many, many years and what have you.
Yeah.
It's kind of that thing. Does that add a bit more pressure or does it relax you into it going, yeah, everyone knows this. Everyone gets this out there.
They do, but you know that this show has such a loyal fan base. They know what they want and there is an expectation, I think, to deliver. And I think the show can become a bit farcical. It can get lost if it doesn't have the heart. And if, you know, it's important to make sure you harness what these characters are about and how they've been written, and you can portray that really authentically. So although it's very fun and it's vivacious and it's loud and it's in your face, it's definitely a story about how to be at home with yourself and celebrate that so loudly. But I think we have to remember that we are sort of telling stories that are still really important, whether they're fictional, and just being able to bring that every time and making sure that it is authentic, because that's the only way people really relate to something. So there is a pressure for sure, and just because the characters are so iconic, you want to do them justice. People have a very vivid idea of what the characters are, who they are. And
I'm playing Columbia. So can you put your own stamp on it? Do you want to put your own stamp on it? Do you want to be true to an original, or is there that kind of that little turmoil about going, I kind of want to put my own stamp on this character, but also I want to be true to the original? That's quite a difficult sort of land to lay in.
It is. I mean, it's a bit of both. Obviously, watching the film from a very young age, you've got Nell Campbell, who's iconic. And I think a lot of people have that version of Columbia in their heads. And for me, even when I was starting rehearsals, obviously the theatre version is slightly different, and the characters have to be portrayed in a different way for stage. But there is sort of, I think it's important to bring your own vibe to the character as well, and our director is wonderful at letting us have that playtime, just to see what we can find when we're exploring these characters. And for me, I always say Columbia is one of those characters that you can miss. She can get lost in the production because she's got this squeaky voice and she does a great little tap dance in a top hat and tails, you know, sparkles from head to toe, which is lovely. But actually, that she's a really complex character and there's a lot more to her. You know, she's a bit of a lost soul, really. And then she stumbles across this family who she feels really a part of and kind of finds her own voice in the show really towards the end. And I kind of wanted to make sure I gave her some heart. So So from that perspective, I think that is what I wanted to achieve with her. And live theatre is always very different. It's really important to be able to connect with the people that you're performing to. So I hope that I do that, whilst keeping all the lovely elements that, now brought to her and the way that Rich has written it, keeping the comedic side of things. So she's a challenge, I have to say. She keeps me on my toes, literally.
Yeah. And yeah, the tapping toes, of course. And I guess in sort of dumbing it down a little bit and being in sort of layman's terms a little bit with it, maybe that is the longevity of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, because it is, on the face of it, the costumes, on the face of it, the dancing and the singing and the fun aspect of it. And you could take that and you could quite easily go to the theatre, and sometimes, like I do when I go to the cinema, I just I turn my brain off and I go, do you know what? I'm here to be entertained. This is my sort of switch off time. I'm a bit of a zombie. And you walk out and you go, oh, that was amazing. That was brilliant. There's also the people that kind of watch it that time and then they're actually going, actually, I want to know a bit more about the character. I want to see that feeling. I want to see that emotion. I want to see that the kind of more to it than that entertainment aspect. And maybe that's the sort of longevity of this.
I think so, and I think that's why it's just stood the test of time. It just runs and runs and runs. It's in its 52nd year.
Yeah.
It's ageless, and it's always going to be important because we're in a world that's ever changing and everyone is important. We have all these inclusive spaces, and as I say, it's a show that celebrates being different and finding wherever home is, whether it's with a community, whether it's with yourself, and just accepting people as they are and as they come, and really sort of celebrating that. So I think it's just going to run and run and run, this show. It's the beauty of it. It's really, Richard really hit jackpot with this one.
Yeah,
really
it did. Yeah. Everyone wanted this one, didn't they? My days. But and in terms of that, yourself as well. I mean, you mentioned at the start that you still kind of, you're 6 months in, you're relatively new, but it still feels like you have that incredible buzz when you get on stage, when you are performing, and that's still, 6 months in, there might be a feeling of, getting your feet under the table, and I'm used to this now. Doesn't feel like that with you.
No, it doesn't. And it's really weird if you have even just a week off and you come back, you think, can I remember my lines? What are the shout outs? How are the audience going to react? And that's another thing about this show. I think there are a lot of shows, there's so much wonderful theatre out there, and there are a lot of shows that you go into and you find your rhythm with it quite quickly. It's very set. Whereas with this, because of the audience participation, you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes it might be a bit more reserved and you just run the show as you do. And then other times it can be raucous and you're kind of, it's like, oh, it's you and the audience, and it's very much their show as much as ours. But
has there been a standout? Has there been a standout moment with the audience? Because like you said, a lot of it is to do with the audience participation and watching it and getting involved. Is there something that either has stopped you in your tracks, or you've caught out the corner of your eye and you've gone, okay, but what are those kind of moments?
I normally am quite centered as a performer, and this has to be one of the shows where I found it really hard not to corpse and sort of join the audience. And they love it when things go wrong, of course, and the nature of Rocky is it's unpredictable. I don't know if I could say this on air, but some of the shout outs catch me off guard sometimes, and
let's leave it at that.
Let's leave it at that. But you understand where I'm coming from. But yes, it's
I think you've led us there beautifully, and you've also led us into desperately coming to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show at the New Theatre on 21st to the 26th of April. Pick up your tickets online and go and see it. Jayme-Lee, it's been an absolute joy and pleasure catching up with you.
Thank you. And lovely.
It sounds like an incredible show. And well, look, it's going to be long may it continue, but it's here in Oxford for people to go and see. So make sure you do. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Amazing. Thanks for having me. Thanks a lot.